say thank you. I've given 3 different recipe ideas to give you a little bit of an idea of the kind of thing you can make. It really doesn't have to be anything fancy. Scones, biscuits will all go down really well. Tray bakes and cakes. You don't have to enter the competition if you don't want to donate. You can still bring a cake or some biscuits or whatever you would like if you would like to say a thank you. I will be picking up everything from the Beacon on June the 15th in the morning to take it to Wexham. Right, so very simple recipe. I've got a couple of little bits I'm going to do to this recipe that just to give you ideas. Now these are little stamps that I bought from Etsy. These are just ideas. This says thank you NHS. This just says NHS and a love heart, and this says heroes with NHS on it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to we're going to press out our ginger nut biscuits and then just imprint them with that on, just a little message to say thank you. And then we're going to bag them into little bags with ribbons, a few in each bag, and that will be a great way to say thank you. You don't obviously have to do that, that's just an idea. Okay, in my bowl I've got my flour, I've got my soft brown sugar, and I've got my ginger, my ground ginger. I'm now going to add 2 teaspoons of bicarbonate of soda, and that's what's going to make it go all crunchy and crack on the top, which gives it a lovely texture, chewy in the middle. And remember, when we're measuring, very important, that would be too much. So you always have to tap to make sure that your spoon comes level, otherwise you will be putting in too much and it really doesn't taste great if you put too much bicarb in. So I'm just going to make sure that it's all mixed, because I've sifted the flour into my bowl first before I've added my sugar, and that is because sometimes you can have lumps and bumps that will stay in the flour if you don't do that. Okay, so I'm just mixing that all in. And then into this, to bring it all together, I've melted 100 grams of butter just in the microwave. Okay, obviously get an adult to help you if you're not used to using the microwave. It's also a good idea to put another bowl on, a little plate on top of a bowl so that it doesn't splash all over the place. Okay, just to give a deeper flavour and to really bring out the ginger, I'm going to add a teaspoon of dark treacle. So I'm just bringing it up the side. I've got my soft little spatula. It can be a bit tricky to mix out of your tablespoon. So I'm just going to do that. This is a teaspoon, which is even harder because obviously it's little. Okay. And then I'm going to add to that 4 tablespoons of golden syrup. So my golden syrup, and I'm going to add 4 tablespoons. So 1. Now, there's no egg in this mixture, and so it's really the butter and the sugar, the syrup, that binds it all together and brings it all together to create a dough. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to add my 4th. Again, making sure it's level. You're not putting too much in, because otherwise your biscuits will just flatten too much when they bake, and it won't form a nice biscuit shape. Okay, so mixing that all in, I'm going to pour it into the centre of my flour, and then I'm going to hold my bowl to mix it up so it doesn't go flying all over the place. Okay. You can see now it's just starting to come together. Okay, you don't want to get your hands in there too soon, because otherwise they'll just stick to everything. And now I'm just going to bring that together with my hand. See? Right, so as simple as that. These really are simple. They're absolutely delicious. You don't need to do the imprint at all. If you just wanted to do a bag of these biscuits, that would be absolutely lovely. Right, so I'm going to take roughly a golf ball size and I'm going to roll it and pop it there. One of the easiest ways to make sure that you have the same size of biscuits is to roll your dough. You can either just do what I did there, or you can roll it into a cylinder, bring it into a cylinder of roughly the same size, shape. Isn't that easy with this dough? Okay, a bit like we did with the gnocchi. And then you cut it so you know roughly that they're all roughly the same size. Okay, so you can just then cut it into little pieces. That makes it slightly easier. Now it's really important that they have a little space between them because they do flatten and run when they bake. Okay, I'm just pressing them down and then you can press your mould into that just to create your shape. So I'll take a photo of these because you probably can't see them that well from there to pop on. But they do look lovely. Okay, so you just keep going with those. So I've got about 2 centimetres between each biscuit, so 3 biscuits in a row. Otherwise they will just run in together. Making them all roughly the same size. It's probably a good idea, if you're making this with siblings, to all roll out all the balls first, like this, so that you can make sure they're roughly the same size. Because otherwise you might have one person's version, which is absolutely fine, but if you're baking, it's important that you have roughly the same size on a tray, because if you don't, they could, like that one was quite big, you can end up having them baking at different times. So the smaller ones could burn before the bigger size are cooked. Okay, so there we go. It's our first lot. I'll bring one up. Oh, you're not going to be able to see. If I bring it a bit closer, you might be able to see the imprints. I'm going to carry on with those, and when they're out the oven, I'm going to show you. Right, so the ginger nut biscuits are out of the oven. I'm going to leave them to cool because they're too soft to move at the moment. And then you can put them on a cooling rack after they're firm enough to move. They're just about, yeah, they are now. Even with spacing them out, a couple did run into each other, so just remember to keep that space. And then I'm going to box these into portions. So I'll probably put about 3 or 4 in a box, and then I'm going to put a ribbon on them with a little thank you on that. Put some in these biodegradable bags as well, and yeah, that's just an idea. You can try whatever you like. Lots of different types of biscuits out there. If you've got a favourite that you like making, stick with that if you don't want to try something different. But for the bake-off, any bake would be lovely.